Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. Well, President Donald Trump is at it again. Just when he went after Dr. Lisa Cook, Federal Reserve Governor, earlier this week and wanted her ousted and fired, his wrath has now entered the CDC. And he is going after Dr. Susan Monarez. And she has only been the CDC director for less than about 30 days. And he decided he wanted to fire her this week. So Dr. Lisa Cook was in his web, and now Dr. Susan Monarez. And this is all wrapped around the CDC is a very powerful agency. Trump said he was going to go after many of our governmental alphabet agencies, and he has been a man of his word, whether you agree or disagree. You have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is the Director of Health and Human Services. He is not aligned and more maligned against issues with vaccines and vaccinations, where he's not sure that they are all healthy. So there's some ideological differences between Robert F. Kennedy and Dr. Susan Monarez, who is an advocate for vaccines. But this is going to have a profound effect on not just the CDC and what it represents. We're talking about epidemiology. We're talking about public health. We're talking about the importance or the unimportance of vaccines for children and elderly people or people that are medically compromised. And where is the real information and the misinformation on vaccines? This is going to have a profound effect, this job loss, these firings at the CDC, on research, medical research, PhD research in sciences. We all know that, hopefully, that we all should know that the CDC is based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and this is a major agency that Donald Trump is going after. So let's get into how this brush fire that started with President Donald Trump and many of these governmental agencies that he thinks has a lot of governmental waste, and he's trying to make reductions. I am not saying I agree with it, but this is where we're at. And what kind of effect is that going to have on the United States populace? Some of these pugnacious and egregious decisions that President Trump is making. Are you for them or against them? So, CDC Director Dr. Susan Monarez refuses to leave after White House ordered that she be fired. The director of the United States Center for Disease Control, the CDC, and Prevention, remains in a heated standoff with the Trump administration after the White House announced that she had been fired. Dr. Susan Monarez, who has only been on the job for 1 month, refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and accused Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of weaponizing public health, according to her lawyers. Her lawyer insisted that Dr. Monarez's sacking was not legal and only President Donald Trump, not White House officials, could remove her. The reason for her removal was that she was not aligned with the president's agenda, the White House said in a statement. And at least 3 senior CDC leaders resigned from the agency. some citing frustration over vaccine policy and the leadership of Kennedy, also known as RFK Jr. Among them that resigned was Chief Medical Officer Deborah Horry, who warned about the rise of misinformation about vaccines in a letter seen by the BBC's U.S. partner CBS News. She also argued against planned cuts to the agency's budget. Here we go with President Trump alleging government waste. I don't know if I agree with that. A longtime federal government scientist, so here we go. A longtime federal government scientist, Dr. Susan Monarez, was nominated by President Donald Trump. So he nominated her to lead the CDC, and she was confirmed in a Senate vote along party lines in July. So Trump nominated her, and now he's rescinding his decision. Her nomination followed Trump withdrawing his first pick, former Republican Congressman Dave Weldon, who had come under fire for his views on vaccines and autism. You know, vaccines and autism have always been aligned with each other on issues. On Wednesday, and the issue is whether vaccines can cause autism. I'm not sure about that, but that's been a major topic. On Wednesday, Dr. Monarez's lawyers issued a statement saying that she had chosen protecting the public over serving a political agenda. The White House statement announcing the termination of her post said, as her attorney's statements make abundantly clear, that Dr. Susan Monarez is not aligned with the president's agenda. On Thursday, Kennedy told Fox News that the CDC leadership needs to execute Trump's agenda. The CDC, he added, is in trouble and needs to be fixed. The New York Times reported that she was at odds with Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, over vaccine policy. The White House has said they will name her replacement shortly. If people are not aligned with the president's vision and the secretary's vision to make this country healthy again, then we will gladly show them the door, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said on Thursday about the multiple exits. The exodus at the top of one of the world's most foremost public health bodies comes as health experts voice concerns over the agency's approach to immunizations since Kennedy took over. Senator Bernie Sanders, who is the ranking member of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, which is the acronym is HELP, that's Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, said the sacking was reckless and dangerous and called for an investigation into the firing of Dr. Monarez. The lawyers that are representing our current administration under Donald Trump are going to be busy as hell with all of these lawsuits. Daniel Jernigan, who led the National Center for Emerging and Zoonotic Diseases, was one of those who also quit, citing the current context in the department. Head of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, Dmitry Daskalaskis also said he was no longer able to serve because of the ongoing weaponizing of public health. There are also reports, including by NBC News, that Dr. Jennifer Layden, director of the Office of Public Health Data, Surveillance and Technology, she also resigned. So you're talking about some heavyweights in some heavy departments inside the CDC that are going along and supporting Dr. Susan Monarez. Early on Wednesday, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, approved new COVID vaccines while limiting who would receive them. And this is where you get into the part about young people and elderly people. The vaccines will be available for all seniors, but younger adults and children without underlying health conditions will be excluded. The emergency use authorizations for COVID vaccines, once used to justify broad mandates on the general public during the Biden administration, are now rescinded, Kennedy wrote on X. Dr. Monarez was the first CDC director in 50 years not to hold a medical degree. She has a PhD. Her background is in infectious disease research. I think that completely qualifies her, probably even more than a physician, to head the CDC. The CDC is about public health, about disease research, epidemiology, and how to deal with epidemics, pandemics, those kinds of STDs, cancer research, high blood pressure research. All of that falls under the umbrella of the CDC and the issues of public health. In her month as a CDC leader, she helped comfort agency employees after the CDC's headquarters in Atlanta. Remember, the CDC was in the news recently, associated with Emory University, when it was attacked by a gunman who believed he had been harmed by the COVID vaccines. The attack, in which hundreds of bullets struck the buildings, the gunman ended up killing one police officer. Earlier this month, current and former employees of the agency wrote an open letter accusing Kennedy of fueling violence towards healthcare workers with his anti-vaccine rhetoric. And this could be a real issue. I mean, you saw the issue. This is aligned with, you saw the situation with the young man in New York who shot and killed the CEO of United Healthcare. All of this is under the umbrella of the medical community. And you have people that are upset. The cost of healthcare, being denied treatment, all of those things. Dr. Monarez's departure comes about a week after a union representing CDC employees announced that about, you won't believe it, 600 CDC employees had been fired. The wide-ranging layoffs include employees working on the government's response to infectious diseases, including bird flu, as well as those researching environmental hazards and handling public record requests. This is a major situation that could affect the entire public. As I said, when you're talking about epidemics, pandemics, epidemiology, statistics, we have to make sure that our CDC is in a healthy state. And you're talking about almost 600 people that have left. You're talking about 4 or 5 people at the top of their departments that have left. What is going on with our president and his administration?